What's up, everyone? Thank y'all for joining me at Buzzing with Marlowe live, live, live. I'll say it again, live. I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's having a good day, a good week. It's the new year, ladies and gentlemen. What a year we have had the past 2 years. Just absolutely crazy. 1 year from being completely shut down to another year just finally slowly rising up. And now I feel like this is the year everything should be almost back to normal. More than importantly, I think that should definitely be the greatest thing is like literally I think everything should be back to normal. Um, Slowly we've been risen. 2021 was definitely an interesting year to be exact. But guys, like I said, I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everyone's had a great day. It's Friday, so that means the weekend is right here. The New Year's is just we have risen. We have made it to 2022. Everybody, give yourself a round of applause on that because that is a huge accomplishment from from everything that's been going on in the world. So, to us making it to 2022 is a big deal. Um, a little bit about what's going on this week for me, guys. I'll be working, obviously, but I've got flag football. We got a little bit of business with that. Playoffs is right upon us, and we are getting prepared for the Worlds in Tampa, Florida, guys. That's going to be a huge, huge thing for me. That's one of my main focuses going in. So obviously in January, that's been the biggest focus we've been talking about is getting ready for the Tampa Worlds tournament. That is basically every team in the world playing for one championship. Yes, guys, flag football has gotten to be a big, big sport. Shout out to this league right here, 4-on-4 Jacks, and the other league that my good friend Mike Atani throws out, puts together because literally these are what prepares us adults to get prepared to play in these tournaments that are out of town tournaments and getting to travel the world, getting to meet so many newer people. And it's just been an absolute blast, an absolute thrill ride to me. Has been one of the most helpful things with me leaving wrestling to being in the background. And it's helped so much for me. And I'm looking so forward to being in Tampa, playing with the team that I'll be playing with, and hopefully taking home a championship. Last year, we got close, but we got beat down. Like literally, that was our first time ever going, and that was an experience. So let's just put it that way. But now I feel like I'm more ready. The team that I'm with, I think we're pretty solid, ready to go, and I think Tampa is going to be an interesting ride. And I'm pretty sure a Florida team is taking the championship home this year. All that other stuff, I really believe Florida is going to be one of the top tier states that's going to be titles in the worlds in Tampa. But guys, enough to ramble off of that. Also, I want to give a shout out to the Team USA Women's and Men's Flag Football Championship. They have now won the gold medal. Both of them have won the gold medal. They were playing out in Israel. That was really freaking sweet just to witness that and literally to see these guys put in all that work, get prepared to make that Team USA. That has got to be a tough challenge. And not only that, but you win the gold medal in the end. So that was awesome, awesome thing to see. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Shout out to Team USA on that. But guys, I know I've been guys, if you haven't, check out our merch on Bonfire. Buzzing with Marlowe merch. You check out the hoodies, t-shirts, V-necks, Razorbacks for the women. We're still working on getting tank tops for the guys. Trust me, fellas. I want a tank top. So hopefully we can get those tank tops made up soon. But guys, check that merch out. Also, we are going to be putting out a campaign basically doing the commission. That's right, guys. The group that I'm with every Wednesday on YouTube Live, we're going to have our own merch coming out real soon. So y'all checking that out. Also, guys, if you haven't, like, subscribe on our YouTube page on Buzzing with Marlowe. You can check out and many, many more. Also, if you don't like watching the videos, we are also on audio. That was what I started with to begin with, and that's one thing I will definitely stick with is also the audio. So the link is below to find out the audio stuff, guys. But enough rambling on. I know everybody's excited to know about my guest. So, guys, today my guest will be Nicola Mercer. Nicola is a life coach, but also Nicola worked for Nike. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Nike. Um, we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about just what was some experiences that she's had with that. What's some experiences that she has witnessed, encountered being alive? Just what, what's the future hold? I mean, so guys, I'm done babbling on. We will get straight to it from the countdown to 30 to 1. When we come back, guys, we will be joined with Nicola Mercer. And the countdown starts right now. All right, guys, I'm joined with Nicola Mercer. How you doing?
Hi, Warren. I'm doing great, thank you.
Hey. I know the time zone's a little different for us. I know you a little bit ahead of our time area, but hey, I know today's got to be a great day. I mean, I'm looking so forward to having this episode with you today. So, if nobody knows who you are, Nicola, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, as you can probably tell from the accent, I don't live in the US. I'm over in the
Mm-hmm.
UK and I'm on the northeast coast. So, very, very different to Florida, where you are, Warren. But yeah, completely different seasonality. So it's very cold here. Obviously, we're in the depth of winter. I do live really close to the beach. I'm about
Uh-huh.
15-20 minutes from the beach. And yeah, I'm Nicola Mercer, and I recently launched my own coaching business called Life Now Coaching. And I work with mainly women, but also with groups in businesses to help people
Mm-hmm.
build new habits for their health and well-being. And yeah, set the company up literally just a few months ago because, as you mentioned, I used to work for Nike and I was there
Mm-hmm.
for just over 20 years. So I had a really long career at Nike. And unfortunately, I was made redundant from Nike earlier this year. But I decided to
Okay.
just go with something completely different and really try and get after my dream, which is to help motivate mainly women to live a healthier life. So, as you can imagine, being at Nike, it was all about the sport, which from your
Mm-hmm.
intro, obviously, you're a huge fan and you've got your own story of being an athlete. And yeah, I was just always really passionate about what we did at Nike. So, in Nike's vision is to make sport a daily habit. And as you'll probably know, being a big sports and Nike fan, if you have a body, you are an athlete. So it doesn't matter who you are, how physically abled you are, you are still an athlete in the eyes of
Mm-hmm.
Nike. And that's how we always worked and drove our mission. So I do really believe in that. I believe in the power of sport, but I believe in the power of movement as well. It doesn't have to be sport in the traditional
Mm-hmm.
sense. I just know from my own personal experience how powerful moving and being active is. So that was kind of the ethos that grew into the health and wellness coaching business that I've set up.
Okay.
And what I'm doing as well is hopefully very soon qualifying or about to get the certificate through as a qualified personal trainer. So I
Okay.
decided when I left Nike as part of this new journey to take that step of exercise one step further and become a qualified PT.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I say, I really want to help other people to exercise because so many people do struggle with taking those first steps to
Yeah.
make an exercise a habit that's part of their lifestyle. So yeah, that's a bit about where I live, what I'm doing at the moment, and yeah, just really trying to reach as many people as I can with the
Mm-hmm.
business and the help and inspiration that I'm offering to everyone.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, are you born and raised in the area that you live in right now?
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
from the northeast of England. You
Okay.
might have heard of a city called Newcastle. They've got
Mm-hmm.
quite a big football club in the Premiership. Yeah, so I'm really close to Newcastle. I used to live in London for a few years. I used to work for Virgin Atlantic, and then I worked for Continental Airlines, which then merged with United Airlines. And so I've done a lot of traveling in the US over the years. I used to work as an au pair as
I
well,
was about to say
actually in Greenwich,
you're very
Connecticut.
familiar with some travel. That's for sure.
Yeah, I've done lots of traveling, and for pleasure. I absolutely love the United States. I love having holidays
Mm-hmm.
over there, so I've visited lots of different places. But yeah, I'm born and raised in the northeast of England.
Yeah, that's awesome. So for you to be like, for you constantly having jobs in like airport and stuff like that, so you've been basically used to that system. Hey, time to go, 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 go type scenario. Because I mean, all these occupations, they ain't just like, hey, you can just sit down and fill it on with paperwork stuff. It's like constantly moving type jobs and stuff. So, like you just mentioned about wanting to be a personal trainer and stuff like that. Did
Mm.
you? So you got that passion basically from working with Nike and stuff like that, or have you always been passionate about like activeness and fitness and stuff like
No,
that?
when I was at school, I absolutely hated PE, so physical education, we call it PE in the
Really?
UK. Oh my God, yeah. I was never good at sports or anything physical like that, but
Hmm.
I always used to go to sport clubs, so I was always willing to try, but I was never picked for the teams. I would go to netball and rounders and athletics in the summer. I could never run, but I tried other things, and
Hmm.
I just, yeah, I didn't have any skills. And as I left school and went through university, I just wasn't active at all, and I did put on weight. When I lived in America as an au pair, I put on weight because I was, eating all of this amazing American food that I'd never had before. This was like 1995, so a long time ago, and it was all a new world. And so, yeah, I wasn't active at all. And then I started to work at Nike, as I said, 20 years ago. And obviously, being Nike, they had a gym in the office, and we had a
Oh,
trainer
really?
who used to
Wow.
come in. Yeah, it was amazing. Back then, we used to have like 2 classes most days of the week, to do
Oh, wow.
aerobics and step and boxing and different things. And I used to do it and knew why you should exercise, but again, because I wasn't ever a natural athlete, I
Hmm.
really did have to push myself to do things like that. It wasn't something that came easily. And then really just over the years, through my own journey with mental and some physical health issues, I really grasped why I needed to exercise. And
Hmm.
honestly, like, exercise has had a huge part to play in my own mental health journey. I really
Hmm.
do need to exercise to stay strong. Um, and just, I think it was maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, something really clicked, and I had a big kind of physical transformation where I
Hmm.
lost weight, I really toned up. And with that came a whole mindset shift as well. And I really
Hmm.
started to just like embrace exercise as part of who I was. And, in the past, I would never have exercised on holiday. But then from that point, every time I go on holiday or if I traveled with work, it was just part of where I was and what I did, because
Hmm.
exercise had become such a habit.
It
And
became a
and
routine,
that's when,
basically. Yeah.
yeah, and that's when it becomes easy, isn't it? When, not that it's easy when you're doing it, but it becomes easy because you're not forcing it and saying, oh, I have to exercise tomorrow. It's
Uh-huh.
just
Yeah.
like, it's just part of who I am, and it's part of how I, manage my day and time. So yeah, obviously being at Nike, I was surrounded by a lot of very sporty people. We had, I was part of the sales team for quite a number of years before I left. And we had people who were pretty much professional, a lot of semi-pros doing lots of different
Hmm.
sports. And so, I always still had a bit of self-consciousness about doing activities, because Nike used to run a lot of team activities, and it might be rounders or football or track, running to see how fast you could run a mile in. And I literally hate anything competitive like that, because I know I'm not very good at it, but I would still do it and enjoy the experience. But you could be up against some pretty good athletes out there.
Oh, I like that. I mean, I like how you just literally said, like, you really saw the reasoning of getting active and stuff. Like, a lot of people just see it as, oh, I'm gonna get a six pack or something like that. Or my favorite one, when women tell me, hey, I want to lose weight, but I can't lift weights because I don't want to look bulky, and I don't want to look like a man. You know what I'm saying? And I was like,
Yeah.
no, that's not even 100% not gonna happen. Like, literally, I would guarantee you, if that happens, then I would turn into a wolf or something. If that's a possibility, there's no way that's even gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I've had my experiences because I actually did personal training for a while. And let me tell you, you get some stories with some clients. And I mean, one of them really believed if they didn't do the treadmill, that they would never ever lose weight. And
Yeah.
I told him, I was like, you do know you never have to go on the treadmill. What? You never have to go on the treadmill. You're lying. You don't know what you're talking about. You're lying. I was like, sure, okay, I just got certified, but yeah, I don't know nothing. All right, you're right. But he stayed a week with me and realized like how much easier it was just to move around and stuff. Because he used to have scoliosis and stuff like that. He used to not be able to move around and everything like that. And some of them would get mad at me too because my first day I would never let them use the weight. So like one of them wanted to learn how to squat. I put him on one of those balls, put it around, leaned against the wall, and I told him, make it to where it's right up to here and stay there as long as you can, 3 times.
Yeah.
This ain't, I want to lift weights. I want to lift weights. This is not working. This is terrible. We did that for the first 2 days, literally just no weights or nothing. So when he got under the bar and stuff, he was just amazed. He was able to do the weight that he thought he was going to do, just based off of just
Yeah.
those little movements, because he was so used to just moving his arms, used to having to move his legs. Like he had to activate himself to prepare him to get under there. And
Yeah.
a lot of people don't realize this is a big factor. I tell people like your body is like a car. It's based off of how you take care of yourself is how that long run is going to be for you. If you can take care of yourself, and I mean, you don't even have to necessarily even eat right all the time. Just go exercise, and you don't have to go to the gym. You can go walk for 15 minutes or something. You can get your blood flowing in your body. You'd be amazed at how much you burn calories just doing nothing. Like literally just moving around. That is the exercise mentality. We
Yeah.
just get the extra incentive when you're lifting weights or something. That's just really an extra incentive. But like people just don't realize the main reasons of exercise. Because now we're in this era where we have to everybody's like, oh, we need to take our vitamins. We need to do this. We need to make sure we do this. That avoids the COVID and everything. I'm like, y'all should have been doing this since day one. Like
Yeah.
vitamins. That should be your main incentive to anything. Like that, you need your nutrients in your body. Well, I need to learn how to eat. I mean, you got to eat a little bit better. You got to clean yourself out a little bit. No, I'll just go get a shot and just be done with it. I'm like, no, why? Like all this high blood pressure stuff, you could literally just fix that at home. You don't even have to go to the doctor and get these blood pressure medicines and stuff like that. People just don't realize if you do little things, it helps you in the longer run. And I like how you
Yeah.
sat there and had that focus that like, hey, this gave me an outlook. I wasn't happy with it, but I realized what the meaning of it is. And you could just tell your mental health, your your mindset is so much easier to figure out because it's just like you're constantly like worried about your blood pressure, worried about something regarding your health because you're like, you know what? Because I'm taking care of myself. I'm doing what if something happens to me, at least I know, hey, it's not because of my blood pressure or something like that. It's
Yeah.
something else that I just can't control. So, I mean, obviously, you getting in shape and stuff is not going to avoid you ever having a sickness. We all know that clearly. But it helps it easy. It's kind of like a car.
Yeah.
Hey, you put motor oil in your car, it eventually cranks up. Now, if something else happens, I mean, you can't control
It's
everything,
yeah.
but it's just those little things.
That's a really good analogy, actually, and I used that quite recently on social media where I talked about, imagine you were going on a car journey somewhere and you plan the
Mm-hmm.
route and you have your tunes ready on your playlist and the snacks and the drinks, and you get in the car and then you start off, and then after say 30 mile you realize you haven't put any fuel in, or gas as you would say.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know, and then you've got nowhere to go because you can't drive, you've run out of the fuel, and your body's the same. And yeah, completely what you said is right, is that your body is the machine, and you've got to look after every part of it, because if there was no fuel in your car, it wouldn't work. If there was no oil, it wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
work. Do you know, if your lights had broken and the bulbs were out, you'd need new ones and you wouldn't be able
Yep.
to drive in the dark. And the windscreen wipers are gone, you couldn't drive unless it was going to be dry. And so yeah, it's exactly the same. And I think that part of what I'm hoping to do is bring a new perspective to exercise, because again, as you touched on, especially for women, they have this belief that, oh, I just have to go on a treadmill or I have to go on a bike and I have to diet. You know, this
Mm-hmm.
word diet, like I'm going to diet from Monday and I'm going to exercise next week. But it's not about that. And obviously there's a lot of personal trainers, a lot of gyms, you know, the fitness industry is huge. And it's great, whatever people do. I don't, you know, disagree with anything so long as someone finds what's for them. But I think a lot of people in the fitness industry are only talking about exercise or only talking about food and nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're saying, it's everything. It's your sleep, it's your stress, it's your relationships, it's your
Mm-hmm.
mindset is a huge thing. All of those things together add up to equal health and feeling well and feeling happy. So going to the gym on its own might start to have physical changes and you will probably get some mental benefits, but it might not make you feel well because you could be filling your
Mm-hmm.
body with rubbish food and, you know, stressing all the time and staying up late every night, binging on Netflix, not sleeping more than a few hours. So yeah, you've got to put all of the pieces together, haven't you, and get the right balance across them all. And definitely for women, bringing
Mm-hmm.
weights and that resistance training into exercise is so important, because as women we age differently to men. Our bodies are made very differently to men. You know, our percentage of body fat's naturally higher. We need to protect our bones because of our hormonal changes as we go through the menopause. So, you know, for women, like I know when I first started that proper fitness journey, if you like, 20 years ago, when I started to work for Nike, women didn't lift weights then. All we did was really high impact, you know,
Mm-hmm.
aerobic type classes, go on the treadmill, go on the bike. And then over the years, it started to become more accepting and understood why women should lift weights. And I know a lot of women older than me who are in their 50s who do very little high impact cardio anyway. They're just doing a lot of resistance because, you know, they struggle with their
Yeah.
knees or with, you know, other joint movement as they age, but just doing resistance that is really hard work, but not impacting your frame, you know, your bones and your joints, is still so beneficial. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
getting that message out to people, any gender, doesn't matter who you are, that resistance training and using weights is really beneficial, isn't it? I love lifting.
It
Sometimes
really
if
is.
I'm,
And I like
yeah,
how like what we
if
say
I don't
about
want to do,
females.
yeah, I was just going to say, so, sometimes I
Huh?
just have this feeling that I just want to lift weights. You know, I might not want to do a full session, but I think I just want to lift some, and I don't lift heavy weights, but I just like
Just
that
to see
feeling
where
of
you can
using the,
go. See
yeah,
what
you
you can
just
get
use,
that day.
get the music on, get the dumbbells and just do some biceps and, you know, pushes or whatever. And yeah.
See, I try to do 5 days a week, but there's like one day I'm just like I feel a little lost. If I'm not, if I sit around and I'm at home and I'm just sitting like, all right, today's my off day, but I kind of want to go. But luckily, I have some stuff in my garage, and I could actually just stay in here and worry about that because I'm with my daughter most of the time through the week. So literally,
Mhm.
I work Saturday, Sunday, Monday, at a warehouse almost 13 or 14 hours a day. And then I come home and I stay with my daughter through the week and literally just watch her through the week. And then obviously I do my podcast around times too. So literally I have my little gym thing out in the garage. So literally on my off days, I'm just like, you know what? I'm probably just gonna go and just see what I can do. Do a lightweight more rep and just like rep it out. Because my garage, I my inspirator is The Rock. So like literally, I like the fact that like how he lifts in a gym that's like super super hot. That's something that I believe in because I live in Florida and I play flag football outside outdoors a lot. So I'm like, you know what? Heat ain't never gonna be a problem for me. So I literally would go in my garage, lit and just have it completely shut, no air vents, nothing coming out, and I would just sweat it out for like a good 30 to 40 minutes. And I mean that's like a good day for me too. Like that's my off day workout. That's what I call my rest day. And I'll just rep out every different thing and then I'll just do it one time, rep it all out, and then just do a
Wow.
little bit of body movements. But the way you described about women lifting weights and stuff, they didn't really lift weights. That's how I felt about yoga. And then when I went to college, I realized yoga is not just for women. Yoga
I
is
don't
very
know.
helpful in ways. And
Yeah.
I really got a reality check with that one because when I got to college, they were telling me, hey, first you're gonna start being more flexible because I played
Mm.
basketball, but I didn't know you had to do all these different things to get yourself ready because in college this is like a job. You're just not getting paid yet, but this is your job. Like you want to do this next level. This is your test. And they were like, first of all, you got to get your joints right. Your legs got to be more
Mm.
flexibility. Your arms, you're really stiff. So like they would start having me do these power yogas. I think that's what they're called. And oh my gosh, that was rolling. I mean, they stretched me every possible way. I thought I was a pretzel for a moment. I really thought I was like one of those little crash dummies that you see in those little car training things, and like they were just stretching my head all over the place. And I was just like, oh man, I didn't even know I could get that far. Like, it was very different.
Yeah, yoga's
So
really
there's an
tough.
incentive, guys. Get yoga.
Definitely. Well, so here's a little insight from the world of Nike then. Yeah, yoga was becoming a really important part of their business, and there was a lot of athletes starting
Hmm.
to talk on their own social media about doing yoga. So Cristiano Ronaldo, the footballer, yeah, Tiger Woods,
Yeah.
lots of athletes were really starting to talk about yoga, and Nike are using them now on their app a lot
Hmm.
to teach yoga and talk about it, because you're right, it was always thought, well, if you're a footballer, you just need to be, fast, nimble, really fit from a cardio point of view. But actually, yoga and stretching your muscles and joints, having the flexibility, helps you to be faster and stronger, doesn't it? And the mindset bit, again, is another
Hmm.
huge benefit people get from yoga. Personally, I really struggle with yoga because I'm not flexible. And in your story there, I've been there trying to bend everything around and it just doesn't happen. But yeah, I think, again, it's one of the areas of fitness that's going to evolve and people are going to learn more about it. And it's definitely an absolutely, really huge grown fitness, class that people are doing now.
All right, we're good. Oh, we're good. Trust me, you'd be
Yeah,
amazed how many
so,
times that happens. You'd
oh,
be
is that the
amazed.
internet?
You get in such a good conversation, and it's just like, no, like, oh man, you're good. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think yoga's a great one. And just overall, I mentioned earlier, it doesn't really matter what you're doing. It doesn't have to be weights, it doesn't have to be yoga, it doesn't have to be going into a gym. And again, for a lot of women, it can be really terrifying to walk into a gym. I think COVID, obviously, there's a lot of things that, are still not perfect in the world, but
Hmm.
bringing bringing people into the lockdowns we've all had, and bringing a lot more technology into our lives, has enabled a lot of people to exercise
Hmm.
at home who wouldn't ever have exercised before. There was a lot of
There's so
people
many ways to
promoting,
virtually work
yeah,
out now, which is
well,
crazy.
yeah, and I think, and that's something that I think is allowing a lot of people to access fitness and exercise who can't afford to go to a gym. You know, so it's a good thing in a lot of ways.
Hmm. Like you really don't have excuses in ways no more. Like you, if
Well,
you're like one of those
you,
guys that like literally just everything on a TV, like it's there. Like what's your excuse now? Like you can't sit here and tell me, hey, I can't roll out of bed. Instead, you playing a video game today. You roll out of bed, go 15 minutes and do like a little step up class or just something. Just
mhm,
I tell people if exercising to you is literally just getting up to stretch, that's all you need to do. Like that, you will feel
mhm.
100% better than you getting up and be like wondering why your shoulder is just so sore. Like you feel like you just got beat up while you were sleeping at night. I've had that numerous times. When I wrestled, I really felt like I really felt like somebody like splashed on me or something while I was sleeping the next day. Like I was like, holy moly, that did a car drop on me last night? What's going on here? Like sometimes, and I mean, stretching really gave me a longevity in that sport
Mhm.
and what where I am now, nonstop, nonstop. Like literally, I have to at least stretch twice a day now,
Oh,
and
that's
just
good.
to get my body rolling and keep it going and stuff like that. So it's like literally, it's
Mhm.
like, good lord, like how many times I gotta stretch? But it helps so many different ways. With you wanting to get into the personal training background and stuff like that, and like how you have your personal experiences when you work for Nike and stuff like that, do you actually have some good base to real good client base based off of your
Oh, we've just lost you there. We've lost Warren.
all right, all right,
I
my bad.
just lost you at the end of the question.
Where did I cut off on?
Um, you were saying about,
Was
I
it
think you
about the
said,
personal training?
I've got a good client base from being at Nike.
Yes. Do you have so when you get that personal training gig started up, do you already got like clients that are pretty much waiting in line for you already, or is it going to be basically working from the ground up?
Yeah, from the ground up. So what I'm hoping to do is maybe do a little bit of personal training while I'm building the main coaching business, but
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to teach exercise just in the way that you would as a personal trainer. I
Yeah.
want to do more of that holistic wellness type training. So
Mm-hmm.
helping people to understand all about nutrition, about exercise, about stress,
Mm-hmm.
about sleep, mindset. And the initial way that I would work with people would be not to focus on an exercise plan and teach exercise.
Yeah.
But if somebody wanted to do that alongside, then I would, do that. I just really wanted to be qualified to understand more about it all, and to be able to teach it, but not just
Mm-hmm.
teach it as a personal trainer. As I was saying, there's so many trainers out there who focus only on what the exercise
Yeah.
program is, and what some of
Mm-hmm.
them do food, some of them don't. But I want to not so much teach the exercise, but teach why you need to exercise.
The
So help
purpose.
people
Yeah.
to understand that and build the habit to exercise, rather than teach the programming side of actually, physically helping them to do
Mm-hmm.
what they want to do. So yeah, that's kind of how I see it, working with people one to one and in groups, and I'm doing it all online, so it doesn't matter where you are in the world. Again, it's
Mm-hmm.
a great outcome of COVID that now there's so many
Are y'all still
online
on lockdown over
businesses.
there, or is it
Well,
good now, or are y'all still on
no,
lockdown?
we're kind of, yeah, we're not locked down. No, there's just some extra
Okay.
restrictions, obviously, before Christmas that new variant started to come out, and they brought the masks back in. But no, then they started directing you to work from home again if people were office based. But it's yeah, been pretty okay for quite a few months, although
You tired of looking at your house now?
it's not great. I know, well, we actually at Nike we started to work from home in the UK before a lot of businesses did. So I started to work from home at the beginning of March in 2020. So we
Oh,
worked
wow.
from home for a long time. I had, well, this is another story. They started to open the office back up in about this, I think the August, September of 20, but you had to get approval to go in the office. It was still work from home. And so I thought, oh, I'll go in the office one day a week just to get out of the four walls of the house and to see some of the people. And the third time that I went in the office, I went for a walk on my lunch break and had a huge fall and ended up breaking my wrist, and I've now got a big, I don't know,
wow.
big scar, and had a metal plate put into it. So with my story, I still struggle with the movement of this. I'm still under a consultant, and I've had to have a cortisone injection to help with the pain just recently. So if I can lift dumbbells and do exercise, a lot of other people can. And that was something that really drove me on my journey as well. When I knew I was going to lose my job, that was something that had already started to make shifts in me as a person, because it was a really, really bad fall that I had. I was in the middle of some woods on my own, literally almost kind of have no recollection of the fall itself. And I think I must have flew through the air.
How high was it? Was it a high fall, or was it?
I can't honestly remember. I know that I'd caught my toes under a tree root, and I just literally flew through the air. Obviously it was all in the middle of COVID as well, so going into hospital and having an operation with everything the way it wasn't a great experience, and being in a cast
makes you worry more, because you're just like, hey, I fell, but it's like they think I might have COVID.
Yeah, but just the whole experience was
That's
really
insane. Good Lord.
Yeah, it was horrible, because I couldn't. It happened so easily. It was just a walk, and I walk all the time. Part of my exercise routine is walking as well. I do really enjoy getting outside, and so it changed a lot where I had to really adjust my exercise. And the very first thing that I thought about when I fell was, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to work out for about 6 weeks. That was literally the first thing that I thought of when I'd landed and knew that I was in pain. And then I realized, I saw it was completely misshaped and realized how bad it was. But then I very quickly adjusted, and I bought a spin bike, and I couldn't do any of the up down, but I could sit on a bike with a cast on, although I realized the first time I did it that it wasn't a very good idea, because everything started to get hot and swell up, and the cast was squeezing so hard. But I had to adjust for a long time. I couldn't do any floor movements for probably about 6 to 8 months. I still can't fully flex my wrist, so I've got to be really careful with things like press ups and mountain climbers. But you can work around it, and but that was something that did really change me and make me realize even more that, oh my God, you've got one life, and this is something that could have been much worse. I could have broken my knee or my leg and not even been able to walk for months. So I just thought I really want to make sure that I am back to fitness, and that I can help other people to be fit as well. So that was a little bit of the journey. But I mentioned it because I was saying I only went in the office, I think 3 times, and then I fell on the 3rd time. So literally for nearly 2 years, I've just been based at home, and it's hard. It's very, very lonely being in your home every single day.
You literally fell for Nike, huh?
In the worst possible way.
Literally, holy cow. That's That's insane.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to hear that. Like, and I could actually relate to some of that because my mom, she had a bad car accident when she was 16 years old. She has like steel plates all through
Oh,
her neck. Like, I I I like to joke around. I call my mom the Terminator because my mom literally has like, she's literally like a robot. Like she has so much steel plate on her in
wow.
her body. It's unreal. Like if she goes through a metal detector, we warn the people
Yeah.
ahead of time. Like, hey, is it really this necessary? Like, look, my mom can pull out everything that's out of her pockets right now. Please don't let her go through this thing. I'm begging you. She has a harness. She has steel plates in her neck or whatever, and they make her do it. Just sitting there like, all right, don't act shocked when she sounds this thing off. And all of a sudden, she sounded the thing off. They thought she brought a bomb or something on the plane and everything. I'm like, come on, man. Just don't make my
Yeah.
mom feel bad. Like, come on. And
But
I mean, I've basically been raised knowing how my mom and basically having to take care of my mom at a very young age and stuff like that. With my dad being in the military, he was gone a lot. So I
mm,
basically had to help raise my sister, help raise my mom, help my mom out as much as we could because my mom, bless her heart, she got hurt a lot. Like my mom, I love
mm,
her to death. Very athletic. I've always heard numerous stories how athletic my mom was, and I think I got it from her because my dad, he was somewhat of an athlete, but he loved doing chess more than anything, and I know I am not good at chess at all. So I'm pretty sure I got all of my stuff from my mom. But my mom, she's her conditions have gotten so bad just later down the road is
mm.
because she can't exercise. She can't lift weights. She can't lift anything over 10 or actually nothing over 5 pounds, which can you imagine lifting anything if you
Mm.
can't lift over 5 pounds? So I literally got to be a personal trainer to help learn to help teach my to able to get in shape, get her in gear, and get her mindset. Because my mom lives off of so many
Oh.
pills, based
Mm.
off of just from her having memory problems, for her neck problems, for her blood pressure, stuff like this. My mom's went through a lot, so literally I decided to start becoming a personal trainer, also to help her and my son because my son was has scoliosis and he has autism, and he really did not learn how to walk until he was like 6 years old. He's about to be 10
Wow.
now,
Mm.
but those were my two main incentives when I wanted to become a
Mm.
personal trainer was those two out. Needless to say, I didn't fully get to pursue and fix their problems. I helped my son walk, but my mom, she still could not do anything except bands. That was basically all she could really do. And then she actually got hurt again to where she really could not be doing the bike and stuff like that. So it's sad when
Mm.
that happens because I know she wants to do it. I know
Mm.
for a fact she doesn't like how she looks and ways. And she's doing great. She's lost a lot of weight and stuff just based off her eating habits. But I know it kills her inside that she can't change up the ideas of like, my arm hurts, whatever. I can't just sit here
Mm.
and lift weights or something like that. But yes, I agree that you can work around stuff. I've had a torn ACL when I had a stem cell for my knee. I actually, for a whole year, I didn't do any leg workouts. So guess what I was doing? Straight upper body. Looked weird because my upper body looked great, but my lower body was like dang near like twig legs.
Mm.
Like, oh my gosh. I made sure when my knees were good again, I'm focusing on legs because
Mm.
short guys, that's basically all you got. Really, you ain't got nothing really to feature. When short guys, those legs is what to pull out so you could actually get in shape for your height and stuff like that. And that's one thing I had to learn as an athlete was legs are your main importance. And I mean that goes for
Mm.
anybody. Like really, I used to hate training legs. Hate training legs. Now I'm obsessed training legs. Sometimes I feel like I train legs way more than I need to. Those were the main things that I learned how to progress myself was like, hey, I may not have done abs this week or something like that, but hey, I've
Mm.
trained legs. And that's literally
Yeah.
activating the same muscles that you're doing. And people don't realize that when I tell them, hey, what ab workouts are you doing? Well, I do crunches and that's I'm like, no, you could have done squats. That's for your legs. I'm like, yeah, but it's also for your core. I'm like, huh? Like, and just look at me with the craziest face, like, You don't know what you're talking about. Just like, no, go. I'm going back to this guy at Planet Fitness. No, I'm done with you. I'm done. But yeah,
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
crazy.
There's
Like literally
so
just to
many
see how
different.
you had that fall,
Mm.
like it could have been a lot worse. The way you described it, it sounded like you fell from like 4 stories or something. Like, holy cow. Like, no.
I think if I'd
Like,
been
heck
on
go.
if I'd been on video camera, I think it might have been a bit of a, yeah, so the first ever somersault that I'd done. But yeah,
Uh-oh.
things like that make you realise how easy it is for things to change. And your story of your
Mm-hmm.
mum and her battle with illness, and I've had a very similar experience with my mum as well, in that it's when you were talking, I was thinking there's so many similarities. She was a lot older, but she had a brain aneurysm, and she had to have some metal
Mm-hmm.
coils put inside of her brain. So she used to beep as well when she used to go through the airport security scanners. And
Mm-hmm.
she,
It's
unfortunately, she
a
had a
sad thing,
stroke.
man. Like that
Yeah,
whole
she had
thing
a,
just sounds off.
oh, yeah, she
Oh
had a
my
stroke
Lord.
when she was waiting to have her operation. And so she
Oh
lost a lot of
wow.
feeling in her leg and her foot. And she
Mm-hmm.
started to put on a lot of weight when she was going through the menopause and had a hysterectomy. And she used to have a rowing machine at home and to try and stay mobile. And like your mum, she wanted to really keep the weight off, keep exercising. She had back problems,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just one thing after another. And she really did try to fight against it. But then there was a point where she just couldn't be mobile. She couldn't
Just
really
couldn't
ever
go,
leave.
yeah.
Yeah, couldn't leave the house on her own. She couldn't, walk outside. She had to go in a wheelchair. And that's really hard. And I think when you have a close family member or friend who has something like that, it just reinforces like how fragile everything is. And you said it right at the
It hits
start.
different. It
Yeah,
definitely
like
hits different.
exercising isn't necessarily going to mean you definitely don't have a heart attack or you definitely don't get cancer. But
Mm-hmm.
exercising reduces your risks massively. And it means if you do get anything, you are in a much better position to fight it and to try and come through it healthy. And that's the same with any illness or disease, isn't it? So, yeah, it's just when people can't exercise and they really do want to move, you realize how precious a gift it is to be able to move your body,
Mm-hmm.
don't you? Um, so yeah, there's lots of things have added up to how I feel now, and I'm no fitty. I don't have abs, in terms of the physical sense, but I'm strong, and I love that. That was a big change in my mindset that happened a few years ago. Was it's not about what I look like and what size I am. I never get on the scales and weigh myself, because I know that I've found a balance that works for me and that I feel strong. I love the fact that I can just go in the gym.
You're confident.
My
You
gym's
have your
my
confidence.
gym's in
You
my
have you
yeah,
have your
my gym's in
confidence.
my garage as well. So I just work out at home, but I can go in there and I can just do something and cut and feel so much better at the end of it.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I try to preach people. It's like, hey, if you are comfortable with how you look, fine. But if you're not, which that is, I might be rough on it, but I think it's about almost 89% of the world that literally is not comfortable with how they look. But they have to find a reason to make their self look better. And I tell people it's better to do something that's in your control than having something that happens that's devastating to
Mm.
where you have no control of fixing. So I learned that when I had that knee injury, because I learned, hey, I had to basically teach my knee to get back to what it used to be. Like I had what, almost 16 years of me being able to function
Mm.
my legs, and then all of a sudden it'd be taken away from me. Like, hey, back to one. Hey, learn how to walk. Hey, learn how to
Yeah.
jump off this thing again. Like people don't realize that until it's gone, and that's why I tell people
Mm.
like I use that metaphor about the car a lot because I'm like, look, man, unless you want to literally have to go to the doctor when you're in your 30s at least 15 to 20 times a year and pay a doctor's bill, which That's not great either. Or you should rather take 15 minutes of your day, 15 minutes at the minimum, 15 minutes, and do something active. You'd be amazed at how much it does for you in the longevity way. And that's one thing that people I wish would get that realization. Realize like you don't have to be in shape to be in the gym. You don't have to be in shape
Yeah.
to go walk around. Like well, I remember when COVID first happened. This was the first time I ever seen so many families get out of their house and go walk
Walk.
around the neighborhood. Go walk around. Like take your dog
Mhm.
and walk them around. Like you realize, hey,
Yeah.
the dogs are not so rambunctious anymore. We go take them on a walk, and hey, we're so much closer to our family because we're around each other. We're not sitting here with our phones in our hands all day. Like these are the littlest
Mm.
things. Erase the distractions. That's how I always tell people. Erase the distractions. Do stuff that's in your control. Because when you
Mm.
can't control it, and it's not a good feeling because it's like you don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't push, hey, being active is gonna help you have the longevity of life living or whatever, but it helps reduce so many options. Like, okay, we have families that say, hey, cancer is big in our families. Cancer is big in our families. Okay, so are you going to make it easier for that to happen? Or are you going to make it harder for it to
Mhm.
happen? You have that control. Like, yes, there is genetics, but guess what? I've seen it numerous times. I've had family members of mine had that cancer is real. I think it was like breast cancer or something like that. It's very big in our family, but they changed something up. They were active and stuff. And guess what? They don't have it. They have not had it, and they're in their 50s now.
Mhm.
So, like, literally, that's a big deal because sometimes my family members didn't even make it over 50. So,
Yeah.
literally, it's just the stuff you could do as your control. That's all you need to
Mhm.
do. That's all you can do. But
Yeah.
it goes so
It's the
many ways.
prevention. Yeah, it's
It goes so many
preventing
ways.
it. It's not waiting until you have to do something, because when somebody is diagnosed with something, or they get to a point where they're really depressed, or they're really immobile and really struggling to move, it's so much harder to change at that point. And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, unfortunately, it's something physical that can't be healed, or
Yeah.
you can recover from. So yeah, what I'm trying to do is teach people that it's about prevention. It's about, like we keep saying, that car analogy. It's, if you bought a brand new car, you wouldn't just start manically driving it around and think, oh, so what if I
Mm-hmm.
scratch the alloys on the side of the road or pavement, and it's fine. You'd be protecting it, and you'd be checking the oil and checking the engine and keeping it clean, because you'd want
Be
it to
wiping the
last.
tires too to make sure those are
Yeah.
clean too.
You'd want it to last, wouldn't you? So and that's what I think a lot of people, unfortunately, again, not to be really deep about it, but especially for the younger generation, there's this whole concept and, like, expectation of instant gratification. They want everything now.
Gotta be
So
handed to them.
so yes, so what? Like, I just want to go out and party and drink and spend money and not get a proper job and be on social media, play games. And I'm not saying everyone's like that, but culture in a lot of the westernized world is like that. And it's dangerous, because I know from when I
Oh
was
yeah.
at Nike and we used to talk about kids, like the kids of today, so kids who, probably under 15 years old, maybe even 18, their life expectancy is 5 years less than what ours is, because of how sedentary their lives have become. And there is a real
Mm-hmm.
risk there. There's a real health crisis. I know in the USA, the stats are huge in terms of the number of kids who are obese and who don't do any activity every day.
Yep.
Same in the UK, that the number of kids who are meeting the recommended daily movement guidelines is really small. It's way, way below 50%. So it's a real risk. And I think,
Mm-hmm.
that's why people have to start to realize that you can't, as the saying goes, burn the candle at both ends, because eventually something's going to break or snap. You've got to,
Yeah.
have a good time, party, drink, but have a balance. really balance it out and
That
just have a good
longevity, like, hey, the partying's fun at first, but when you get those 30s and that gut shows up and you're just like, how that happen? Like, then you're like, okay, maybe I should have took it a little bit better because we all
Yeah,
at
and
that
it's
age, like literally, if we think about it, in high school, I think this would be the best example. I'm pretty sure all of us wishes that we done something different in high school. I wish I kind of was a little bit more focused on my education than I was with everything else because I literally was just enjoying everything. Like I played
mm,
sports, I was around good groups of people. I didn't really have a bad high school. I honestly cannot say I've never had a bad high school because I just wish I focused more on sports. I meant focus more on class work because obviously that would have helped me better longevity maybe in sports or something like that. But
mm,
it's always these things because now you're in that what if moment and like how we have said about mental health and stuff, sometimes that can affect it. And some of your
mm.
choices. Hey, we're young. Hey, we got one life to live. So YOLO. I guess that's what they're saying is YOLO. You only live once. You want to do everything and we'll worry about the repercussions later on. That
Mm.
YOLO gets you in them 30s and you're just sitting there looking at them like, man, I don't like this. I'm miserable. Click on the TV, you see somebody that you probably played in high school with that you knew you were better, and they're sitting there playing in professional leagues in soccer,
Mm.
football, basketball, anything like that. Just like I could have been doing that, and that, in a way that can put you in a mental problem. And I've seen it to numerous people, and it affects
Mm.
people's longevity standpoint, and it makes it where they just give up and they quit, and it's like these little things can cause a bigger problem,
Oh
and
yeah,
all you
it,
gotta
and
do
it,
is just
mhm.
take action.
Yeah, and it's not all was just that either. It's that you can really burn out, can't you? And just, like
Hmm.
from years and years of lack of sleep, drinking, eating, the wrong kinds of foods, and just, pushing your body and your mind beyond its limits is going to catch up at some point. And that's why, it's got to be balanced. And I think it's really important for women, especially because they need to bring these healthy habits into their families to teach their kids as they grow up, about what
Hmm.
is a healthy way to live, because that's the only way that change really is going to come, is through, modeling the right behavior, children growing up seeing their parents, moving and exercising and thinking
Right.
about their mindset, because there's loads of things. It's not just about exercising, is it? There's lots of different ways that you can help yourself to be healthy as well. Um, but yeah, and the hardest thing that I hear from a lot of people, and especially when it comes to exercise, is time. People say, I just don't have time. And, people
That
say,
makes me so mad. That
yeah,
pisses me
and,
off
and,
so
and I
bad.
get,
Like I literally, oh my gosh, it drives me nuts. Like I tell people, like, hey, I raise my child. I a good husband. I do what I need to do. I go to work. I do everything I can do. But guess what? My incentive to me is I go to the gym. Like that is my alone time. That is my free time. And that's one reason why I love doing these podcasts because guess what?
mm,
They get to go in their own little room. I'm in my own quiet area. And then I get to have a good chat with whoever I want to have a chat with because guess what? That's my time. So this and my gym, and those are my freedoms. And I
mm,
tell people like if I can do this, and I've told numerous people this, if I can do this, and I'm doing a podcast, and I'm literally promoting this every single day, putting a new episode out every week, doing something, and when they're sitting here describing, hey, I work at a doctor's office, 8 hours, I'm on the computer and stuff like that, and I said, okay, what's your excuse? Oh, when I get home, I'm just tired. And I'm like, no, go do a foam roll, do something, stretch something. And then guess
mm.
what? That can be your exercise for the day. Like that can be the littlest thing. And you'd be like, you know what? I feel so more energetic today. I feel so much better. My back doesn't hurt all the time because you're sitting in a chair and not doing nothing when you get home.
Yeah,
Of course you're going to have a problem. Of course.
I
It's
know.
just
And
like
that,
these little things.
yeah, that's so bad. I mean, I've not necessarily been in the office every day because I used to travel a lot, but my job has been desk
Mm-hmm.
based, and you've got to take that into consideration as well, because someone who sits down most of the day has a very different lifestyle to someone who is in a job that means they're really active. You know, if
Mm-hmm.
someone's a nurse or a doctor in a hospital, they're going to be on their feet all the time, and that is really physically demanding. Someone who works in an
Mm-hmm.
office, it's completely different. You know, for 8-10 hours a day, you probably move no further than when you walk to
Yeah.
the bathroom, you know, a few times a day. So yeah, but I do get it, because especially again for women, it can be really tough, you know, with juggling things. But that's why I'm sharing what I think can help people, because I had a corporate job for 20 years. I travelled for all of those 20 years. You know, the last probably 7 or 8 years, I used to go from Newcastle to London nearly every week, which was 3 hours on the train. Sometimes I'd be there and back in the day.
Oh
Sometimes I'd
wow.
be there for 2 or 3 nights. And, you know, I had a family, but I
Mm-hmm.
managed to work around it. So say if I was going to London and I knew that I was there and back in the day, so I might leave home at 6:30 a.m. and get home at 10 p.m., for example, and I'd been on the train for 6 of those hours. I'd think, right, I haven't got time obviously to do a normal exercise thing today, but I'm going to take every set of stairs rather than the, you know, like the escalators or the elevators. When I'm on the underground in London, I'll take the stairs and I'll walk fast. I'll get off a stop earlier and walk more. I'll, you know, go for a walk. If I have lunch, I'll go out and get something rather than sit in the office. So just trying to make little shifts, you know, it is really hard, but it is possible, because
Mm-hmm.
it's down to
Oh yeah.
priorities, really. Yeah. And I think when one of the big things I work with people on is working out your why, because that's the key, I think, because, you know, people could say, oh, I want to lose weight, or I want to exercise, or I want to feel healthier, you know, whatever it might be. But
You
then they
want to stay
go,
confident.
oh, yeah, they're like, it hasn't happened yet. Why? Oh, I don't know. But then if you really know
I'll go
your
next
why,
week. I'll do it next week.
if you know your why, then they can say, well, right now I know, like, I know why it's important. This is why it really matters. And then you can feel emotionally connected to it and
Mm-hmm.
start, because a lot of people talk about it. I have friends who say, oh yeah, I'm going to start and go to the gym. 6 months later, they haven't been to the gym once. Do you know, oh, I'm going to start a diet.
That
And
New
I keep
Year's
saying,
Eve,
there's no
that's
such
when all
thing.
those raises come up, right?
How many New
New
Year's
Year's Eve comes,
resolutions are
I'm
still
going to
in
the
place?
gym.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, the
remember
gyms
when
are
I was a
packed
personal
now,
trainer.
next month. Yeah.
When I was a personal trainer, I heard that numerous times. Like I share a meme every year, and it always shows a packed gym right after New Year's. The next week, empty. Like that is literally the metaphor of what happens. Like and like how you said, you got to figure out your why. If you're just going in there going, hey, I need to lose weight, and you don't have any explanation of why you're wanting to lose weight or what you're going for to lose weight, you're not going to continue going because you don't like it. It's like a job. You don't
Exactly.
want to
It's a
work a job
chore.
that you're literally going to be miserable with. I mean, yeah, the
Mhm.
pay might be great, but if you're miserable there, what's the point of staying? Like, some people don't realize stuff like that. I mean, it goes so many different variables. Like,
Mm.
I have heard so many craziness. Like, literally, I've heard I want to get in shape. I want to look like a fitness model. And I was like, but I don't want to lift weights. And I'm like, you want to look like a fitness model, but you want to lift weights. Yeah. Is that possible? I was like, probably not. Probably not.
Yeah. And I think some people think that they'll go to the gym 2 or 3 times a week and get the results they want as well. You know, they'll think, well, that's all I need to do, turn up, do something, and then, you know, that's it.
Oh
But
my
so
gosh.
yeah,
I want to look like
getting
Zac
clear
Efron. Like,
on your
literally,
goals. Mhm.
just get me in there for 2 weeks. I want to look like Zac Efron. Um, I want to look like her, completely like her, but I don't want to be on steroids or anything. I'm like, that's hard work. That is not steroids. Calm down. Like some things like that just amazes me how people are. But This was absolutely fun, man. I enjoyed this so much. You definitely have my support when you start your personal training gig. I hope you get the
Thank you.
certification of everything that you're wanting out of it. I could tell you will be a very good personal trainer that is a very good personal trainer because there is personal trainers out there that just literally don't need this. And I have said it numerous times. There are some that literally just don't know what they're doing. They just
Mm,
got this just to have a certificate or something. So like it's good to see that there's somebody there that has the right mindset to do this job because
yeah.
like I said, there's so many people that have done it but are not a good incentive to it and you're wasting people's time, wasting people's money in ways because personal training is a tough gig to get in.
Mm.
Tough gig to get in. My personal experience. In a small area I got lucky. But in a big area like where I'm living now, it's kind of difficult.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks for your
I have
seal
to
of
have actually a
approval.
nice little look just so I can keep going, you know. Like literally, I actually believed that because when I was a professional wrestler, I was known for my look. So obviously, I had to make sure I was looking the part, look what I
Yeah.
needed to do. Because obviously, I had to have my shirt off dang near almost every show. They would never let me wrestle with a shirt on, which is like, no, that's why we draw money. Yeah, you got to keep your shirt off. Okay, cool. So literally, I was
Mm.
like, okay. So the personal training gig, so I was like, okay, I should be fine, no problem. I gotta look. Pretty sure people would be like, ah, I want to look like that. Some of them just looked at me and go, so how many times you do steroids? I'm like, what the heck? Like, you don't even know me. Like, you just gonna assume
Yeah.
this? Like, why? But yeah, this has been an absolute blast. With you being a life coach and stuff like that, if you were trying to actually persuade a client from this podcast or just anywhere in general, what would
Mm.
you tell them to why they
That's
needed you to be their life coach?
Yeah, that's a good question. Again, I mean, there's so many different types of coaches out there, and I think the main thing that I've got to offer is that I am really taking that holistic approach, so that it's not all about just one thing. It's about
Mm-hmm.
why health and wellness is really important, why you need to have the right habits in your lifestyle, and only by having those habits will you get the results that you're looking for. And I really work with clients on breaking down what they want to change and why they want to change it, because that why is absolutely key to then taking the steps forward to make the change to get where you want to go. And I think, I've got a lot of great experience working at Nike, what I was doing there, and just my personal story through mental and physical health. I've had a lot of
Mm-hmm.
challenges, a lot of things that I've had to overcome. I am a real woman. I've got a family, I've had a job, I'm building a business now, I've had, these health issues, other things with family. And so I've got real experience that I think makes a difference, because it's not, I'm not a personal trainer who's just about the way that you look. I'm about having the life that you want to be happy. So I think I can bring a lot to the
Mm-hmm.
table and really support people with.
Hey, I love it. Hey guys,
Fab.
link will be in the
Thanks,
bio
Warren.
to check out any accomplishments that Nicola has got in the future. And now I'm excited. This was absolutely a great shot. Nicola, is there any last shout outs you like to have or any plugs that you want to plug?
Yeah, go on then. I'd love for you to follow me on Instagram. That's where I like to hang out. So Life Now Coaching, you can find me on there. I'm on Facebook as well. And if anyone is really struggling taking those first steps, because you do struggle to find the time, I've got a free guide that you can download. So just find me on Instagram. You can find the free guide there, or just drop me a DM and I'll send it to you. But it just gets you thinking about little ways that you could start to make time to put the changes in place that you're looking for.
Hey guys. Also, the link will be below the episode so you can check out everything that she's got and also that free download that she has also had. But Nicola, I appreciate you doing this and I hope you have a great, great rest of your day.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Warren. Yeah, it's been really good. Thank you.